Hey. Welcome. We got another special show for you guys today. Welcome to Girl Chat Sports with Mo and Mel. We're here. It's Wednesday. We are ready for the show. We've got a great guest coming to you guys today. I'm really excited to have her. I can't even imagine doing all this at the young age of 22 and what I was doing at that time. But I want to play a little video for you first, for everybody that's out there. If you're watching, stay tuned. Mo and I, we have some great topics coming up. We got some hot topics. We got some sneaker drops. We've got a lot going on. COVID is still rampant, guys. And we had some new COVID news that hits home here in Las Vegas for our WNBA team. So make sure you stay tuned for that news. But let's get this going, and we'll get a little video of our guest. All right, without further ado, your mic's on mute. Are you muted yourself?
I had to mute myself because my TV just kind of automatically did a phantom thing of turn it on, and it was loud, so I didn't want to distract you.
Well, without further ado, let's get our guest on. Toni Breidinger. Did I say it right this time?
Yes, that was perfect.
Wonderful. Hey, thank you so much for joining us today on the show. First of all, congratulations on being the first Arab-American NASCAR driver, female NASCAR driver. What an amazing first. But I guess 22 years old, you started this doing go-karting. How does a girl just think, you know what, I'm going to be a race car driver?
Yeah, I mean, from a young age, I always saw myself as a driver just like everyone else. So I never really felt like I singled myself out. I never felt like I was doing anything out of the norm. I feel like that was more brought to my attention when I was a little bit older and maybe in high school, that I felt like a little bit more insecure about it. But at a young age, I think I just felt like I was just doing my thing, doing what I love. I didn't feel like it was anything out of the norm.
Were you very inclined into doing different sports, or like once you got started? I know it was like around 9 years old you started doing go-karting. Your dad took you and your sister to a go-kart track. You kind of got your start there. Were you doing other sports, or that was basically you got into go-karting at 9 and was like, this is it?
Yeah, I feel like 9 was the age where I was kind of trying everything. So I did, soccer, even some stuff with instruments like piano. So I feel like at that age, I was trying everything, and go-kart was the one thing that I told my parents, hey, I like this. I want to stick with this. So we just kind of ran with it.
That's awesome. So give us a little background kind of as to how you got into it, doing it professionally. When did it go from go-karts into actually car racing and getting in through the circuit? We know you're the all-time winningest female in the United States Auto Club, which is by far in itself a great historic moment. But kind of what propelled you into getting into this actual race and getting into NASCAR and getting your first NASCAR experience?
Yeah, when I was 9, I knew that this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a race car driver. I wasn't really sure what type of racing I wanted to do. There's so many different forms of racing, NASCAR, Formula One, IndyCar. There's a whole bunch. So at that age, I told myself I wanted to be a race car driver. I wanted to do everything. And then when I was around 14, 15 is when I kind of directed my attention more towards NASCAR. And that's also around the time that I got in my first race car. And yeah, once I did my first race it was an oval track. That was my first time really only turning left. In go-karts, you turn left and right. It's like a little road course. So I did my first oval track race, and I saw these stock cars there. And I honestly didn't know that much about NASCAR at that time. I was more of a Formula One fan and IndyCar fan growing up. But once I saw my first stock car race, I kind of did some research, and I was like, oh, kids are doing this to, hopefully climb the ladder system up to NASCAR. So it's kind of when I saw my first stock car race, I was like, wait, maybe I like doing NASCAR. So yeah, kind of around 14, 15 is when I made that jump to race cars.
Yeah. And I mean, we're talking like 9, 10 years old, and then obviously getting into your teens. This is all before you even have a driver's license. So really, you're out there maneuvering cars and go-karts and whatever else before this time. And I just now thought that you're always turning left. So at some point, like, do you have to have like a special like muscle in this left hand to really work? I mean, that's crazy that you're going at like what up to speeds like 160. I don't even know what top speed is for you, but
yeah,
180, always turning left. What other tactics and techniques have you learned over the course of your time racing?
Yeah, so it's kind of funny because even though we're always turning left, if you actually watch our hands, we're always moving. You just can't really tell watching from the outside, but it's crazy. If I watch my hands, if I put like a GoPro or something in my race car, and I see my hands, I'm like, whoa, I move them a lot. I'm turning left, I'm turning right. So yeah, you're always kind of using different muscles in the race car. It's crazy because I think a lot of people kind of picture it to be kind of similar to like driving down the highway, but it's totally different. You have the G-forces, you're being pushed and your head's being pushed, your whole body's being pushed, and you have to keep yourself upright. So I feel like you use just like a whole bunch of different muscles. But yeah, it's funny because I'm left-handed, so I always say I tug on the wheel, whereas I feel like right-handed drivers kind of push on it more.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it's kind of
that would make a difference.
Different. Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Now, one thing that we read about you is that you also have like this pretty huge social media following. You are fairly young, and you're just kind of really getting started in this whole avenue. And you just recently partnered up with Triller, which most of us know for doing a lot of. They've really gotten into sports lately with the big threes, the different boxing matches. What exactly has that been like for you, into being able to be involved with someone in a company like Triller?
Yeah, I love social media. Obviously, Triller was a perfect fit for me, and I'm super excited about our partnership. I feel like we're going to make a lot of cool content together. And I feel like it's just perfect. For me, when I partner with a company, I really want to feel like we just vibe and we match really well together and we can help each other. So I'm really excited about our partnership. I think, Triller allows me to reach, a wider fan base, reach my current fans, expand that fan base, and create content and be myself. I feel like with Triller and social media in general, you could just create content and kind of do your own thing. So yeah, I think it's a really great fit, and I'm excited.
Well, awesome. And obviously being so big into social media, this is the way of the world these days, especially for younger folks, younger girls, younger athletes. Do you find that you're getting a lot of like DMs or contacts or messages from other girls out there that are kind of like just amazed that, yeah, maybe one day I could be racing cars? I mean, you are like now one of the, few women in NASCAR. You are one of the few women that do a predominantly male sport. How do you think that's changed things for you, and what you maybe put on social media, or how you try to maybe, teach those that are younger?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I never see myself as an inspiration or somebody that's paving the way until I started growing my social media following, and I started getting these DMs from younger girls and women just reaching out to me saying, wow, you're such an inspiration. You motivated me to do this. And even if they're not into racing, they were saying that I inspired them to try other things that aren't typically in the norm for females to do. But it was just kind of crazy because I never, I'm just doing my thing. I've been doing this for so long. I don't feel like I'm doing anything different. But social media and getting those DMs is really what brought my attention to, I am making a difference, and inspired me to help make more of a difference and really use social media as a platform to help with that and help other girls feel like they can do something that's not typical for them to do, and to kind of break those norms.
Exactly. No, that's great. Talk a little bit about Daytona. I mean, I think everybody out there has heard of, the different races in the Daytona 500. And if you are, whether you're a race car fan or not, or a NASCAR fan, you know about Daytona.
Yeah.
How was that experience for you, getting your first race there this year and kind of being like at, I don't know, I guess you could almost call it like a Super Bowl version of for NASCAR fans and for NASCAR drivers. Like, what's that like for you to be there in like this arena of where champions are basically are built?
Yeah, Daytona was so wild. I feel like the entire day was just a blur. I think I was so excited, but also so anxious and had so many mixed emotions. But it was crazy. I mean, I've been dreaming to race at Daytona. I feel like so many young drivers, they look at that track as their ultimate goal to race there one day. So it was pretty surreal the whole entire day. I feel like part of me feels like it didn't even happen. It was kind of hard to soak everything in. I feel like everything was happening so fast and I was so focused. And obviously a little bit nervous. But yeah, it was super crazy experience. I'm really excited to go back there next year because I feel like now I could kind of enjoy it a little bit more. When I was there, that was my first big race and on a big track like that. So I had a lot of new things to learn with the track and the cars. And that was also my first race with my new team. So there's so many different variables going on. So I feel like next year I can hopefully enjoy it a little bit more. But it was crazy. Going down that straightaway for your first time and going 180 miles per hour for your first time is, I don't even know how to explain the feeling. It was pretty insane.
It's definitely got to be an adrenaline rush. And, you know, just for you being in that space with the guys, I noticed in one of your interviews, you mentioned that once you get in that car, it's genderless. It's not about a man. It's not about a female. It's just about the race itself. Yeah. Can you also talk about, with your heritage being Lebanese and German descent, how is that diversity and inclusion been for you? And since the whole thing of Bubba Wallace voicing out that the Confederate flags must go, now they go. Can you explain a little bit the adversity that you faced in NASCAR off of your heritage, being the first, and what it looks like for you today?
Yeah, I feel like Bubba really helped kind of pave the way or help pave the way to allow other people to feel comfortable with, you know, bringing their ethnicities to attention and, you know, feeling like you can really represent. I think, you know, definitely, obviously, NASCAR is a white male dominated sport. So I feel like at times, especially, you know, when you're a teenager, you kind of feel insecure that you maybe don't look like everyone else that's out there. And I feel like, you know, this past year, I just had that confidence in myself. And I was like, wait, why am I trying to look like everybody else? Why am I trying to seem like everybody else? I'm my own person. I have my own background, my own story. And I want to represent that. And I want to make other people feel like they should be confident too, to be themselves and not feel like they have to fit in a certain stereotype. So yeah, I feel like, you know, Bubba did a really great job with voicing his opinions and making himself heard. And I feel like that gave me and so many other drivers confidence to do the same.
That's great. That's great. And then I also noticed not only do you have Trilla as your sponsor, you've also represented it with your heritage with the Huda Beauty line. Yes. You've done, what was the impact on that? Was that your first sponsorship? And how did that make you feel? Because Huda herself is also, she's from Iraq. Yeah. So how was that connection? And then that kind of sponsorship, what did that mean to you? Yeah,
Huda Beauty was really a dream come true. When I was a teenager, I used to sit in my room following her makeup tutorials, buying all her makeup. So that was really actually a dream sponsor for me. And it was really cool to get her support. That was one of my first actual real big sponsors. So for her to believe in me from the beginning, when I was just really starting to get my name out there, just meant a lot to me. So yeah, that was an amazing sponsorship, and to get her support. And I feel like that just made me feel that much more confident to continue representing and paving the way and doing things out of the norm, because that was also the first beauty brand to be in NASCAR. So it was another cool thing that we did. So I feel like her support kind of made me feel like, okay, yes, I can do this, and what I'm doing is a good thing, and kind of gave me that extra little bit of confidence.
That's great. So what's your favorite beauty product from her?
I honestly use a lot of things. I love the foundation. It's actually, they call it like Dubai proof. It's like heat proof. So it stays on really good if you're sweating. So I like to use that because it kind of stays on better than most products when I'm in the race car and it's all hot and stuff. So I love that. But her eyeshadow palettes, I use them every day.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah,
she's got a great line. Those here in Vegas.
She's got a great line. She's got a cosmetic line. I mean, she's profited very well. I mean, I think the company's worth like $520 million. She's like that person that has reached out to a lot of people. So, and not only that, on the fashion tip, you also have Tori Birch behind you. You've been doing some things with her and Skims. Talk about that. Like, how exciting is that to even be included in the space of fashion as well? I don't think any other NASCAR driver's done that. So
yeah, I know. We're definitely doing something different and bringing different brands into the sport. In my last race, we had Free People's FP movement on the car. Nice. So it's really cool to be included in their campaign, and just to bring new companies like that into the sport and the world of NASCAR. I feel like it's very different. But I love it. I feel like that's right up my alley to be different and to be bringing these new sponsors into the sport. So it's cool. I feel like, I feel like people can kind of look down upon you for having other passions or hobbies, but I feel like you could all just like blend it together, even if it's not typically like, most drivers aren't into fashion and makeup, but I am. So I'm going to make that work because that's part of who I am. So I think it's just about finding what you really like and kind of not being afraid to show it.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what makes you unique and makes you stand out even more, is that you're bringing in things that you care about and that you enjoy, which and maybe you're probably bringing in a lot more NASCAR women fans too. I mean, I know there's already a lot out there.
Absolutely.
But it's one thing to be a fan of a sport, but it's another to see your gender and your heritage also being in that sport, doing it professionally. So kudos to you. That's just amazing. You got 18th place at a 33rd in Daytona, which you had beat out the other. I think there was 2 girls in the competition in the race with you. But I know that you had mentioned that you had wanted to hit top 20. So you had gotten the top 20. You've also did Talladega this year, and you were in Kansas and Charlotte. What other races do you have coming up, and what kind of goals do you have for the rest of the season?
Yeah, so my next race is actually this weekend, and it's at a dirt track, which is very different for me. I just did my first dirt race a couple weekends ago. So I kind of got my first experience out of the way. I really didn't know what to expect. So I feel good going into this one, even though I'm not an expert on dirt compared to some of the other drivers. I feel like I kind of know what to expect going into this. So I'm excited. We got a top 10 last weekend. So if I get a top 5, I feel like that would be, my next goal for myself.
That's dope.
Talk about the difference from dirt to regular track. Like, what is it differently that you have to do? Are the tires different? What kind of, preparation is that for the 2 different things?
Yeah, so I'm no dirt expert, but they are totally different. I feel like the way you drive dirt to pavement is honestly almost opposite. Our cars that we drive, I feel like they aren't typical dirt cars. It kind of feels like by the end of the race, the track is a very slick pavement track. You can't really drive it in that deep into the turns, and it kind of feels like you're always on the edge. I feel like with dirt, it always feels like you're kind of out of control, but you're still in control at the same time. Whereas pavement is a lot more like in control. Dirt, you're kind of, even though you turn left, you kind of turn right a little bit too. So yeah, it's definitely a different situation for sure. Definitely a learning curve and everything. But it's fun to like kind of change it up a bit and try something new.
Now, were you starting out, were you doing like truck racing too? Was that one of the things you were doing as well before? Did you do any of those?
No, so truck racing would be the next level up from what I'm doing.
Okay.
So I'm hoping to make my truck debut next year.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
Excellent.
Nice.
Now, what's your favorite car to drive recreationally or personally?
I
know you're in Chevy now.
Yeah, so I have an SUV. I kind of like to have SUVs as my daily car. I feel like I always throw so much stuff in my car. And especially, if I'm driving to races, all my racing gear, and I pack a lot of stuff too. So honestly, for my daily car, I really like to have an SUV. I have a Mercedes GLK 350 right now. It broke down today, so I'm kind of sad, but it's in the shop getting worked on. She'll be good, brand new after. But yeah, for my daily car, I kind of keep it pretty realistic. I don't really feel like I need to have a really fast or fancy race car for the roads. I mean, you can't really, you're not supposed to push it to the limit to where you go fast anyway. So I'm like, I'd rather keep the fast cars for the racetrack.
Gotcha. But are you still gunning it at times? Like, do you find yourself on the highway and like, shoot, let me just
like mess it up?
I do it by accident, especially if I'm driving after a race. Like, you feel like you're going so much slower. And I'll look down at my gauge. I'm like, oh shoot, I need to back it down for a second here. So I feel like I definitely do it by accident sometimes.
And one thing that's different too, that's like, I'm sorry, Mel. One thing that's different that's a little familiar is about your workout plan and your regimen. You mentioned something about a neck exercise, like that strengthens your neck more so than anything, because when you're driving, you've got to hold it still. I never thought about that when it came to driving. And you're saying part of your workout is also cardio, of course, but the neck thing, talk about that. Like, how is that type of workout essential for your driving? I know it is, but just describe that type of workout to keep your neck held and engaged in that cage when you're in the car seat.
Yeah, so I think the neck workouts are probably my least favorite type of workout, but they are important because, when you are driving, you're going through G-forces. So really your head's getting pushed over and you need to be able to keep it upright so you can see straight ahead pretty much. So that's like an important reason why neck training is important. You don't want to be tilting your head by the end of the race. And then also it helps prevent concussions. So that's important too. If you have stronger neck muscles and you do get in a wreck, it's supposed to help lessen your chances of getting a concussion.
What kind of workouts are they though? Like say if I wanted to.
Can we get a demo?
Yeah,
give a demo.
Yeah, so my trainer, he does driver-specific workouts and only trains drivers. So he has specific equipment for neck training. One of them, it's called Iron Neck, and it looks like you're putting on a hat. It looks really funny. And there's kind of like this rope thing connected to it, and you basically walk to where you feel tension on it, and like you just like turn your head. And then we have a couple other exercises, but if people want to try it, you know, for themselves, you can just use like a couple pound weight and just like lay on a bench and kind of move your head up and down and like side to side. You probably Google it and get a better explanation.
That is so interesting.
But yeah, it's hard. I mean, I bet most people don't even need weight, and it's like, oh shoot, my neck's like tired already. But
I would believe it. I feel like that would be
too. I just never knew if that's such a thing. I never would have thought of that for you guys racing.
Yeah.
You know, I figured you guys were so.
But it makes sense.
Yeah,
but it makes sense
It
though.
totally does.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, have you had? I don't want to jinx it, but have you had an accident yet? Like, have you had? I know there was a go-kart incident, but have you actually had any kind of like moments there on the track?
Yeah. So
80 miles an hour. I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, so my worst accident, I feel like, would still be my go-kart accident. About a month ago, my throttle got hung open. And that's probably my worst fear as a race car driver. I've never had that happen in my 12 years of driving. But yeah, so my throttle stuck open. So basically going into the turn, my throttle just stuck and I felt it just like break under my foot. And I couldn't get it back up. So I was going like full speed into this turn. I was like, oh gosh, we're not going to make this turn. And I was trying to shut off my car and make the turn and all that. So I think that's always been my worst fear, but honestly, it wasn't that bad. I was just like, oh, that kind of sucked. And I was more bummed out about the car. I've never been like scared for myself or anything. But yeah, I would say that's kind of probably the worst crash that I've gotten into. Nothing too crazy has happened, knock on wood. But
well, that's good. We hope that it stays that way. But
I
I
hope so
just
too.
that's just like, you know, one of those things you think about race cars and you think, oh my gosh, like they get into those are some serious, I mean, that's a lot of speed, a lot of force, and not a lot wiggle room for error there.
Oh, definitely not. I always say you never realize how fast you're going until you crash.
And you being so young, right? And you being so young, how's your family? I know you have a twin and everything, but your mom, how is it every race? Is her anxiety on 10, or is she comfortable with everything that you're doing right now? I know she's proud of you for sure.
Yeah.
But does she have any intense or tense moments where she's just like, oh my God? Is there a ritual that she does to make sure you're safe or anything like that when you're?
Yeah, so it's been a minute since she's been to one of my races physically because of COVID and all that. So for the most part, a lot of my races are in the Midwest, East Coast area. She's out in California. So she watches my races on TV. I'm sure she gets very nervous. But when I was racing out in California when I was younger, I heard that she kind of death grips whoever's like standing next to her and is like freaking out. So I obviously can't see her freaking out since I'm racing on the track, but yeah, I've heard she gets a little nervous once I'm out there.
The typical mom stress, you know. So as far as racing goes, who has been your inspiration, or who did you look up to kind of starting out in race car driving? Who have you looked up to? And then have you been able to meet any of these like legends that you maybe looked up to, or what kind of advice have you been given coming up?
Yeah, when I was a kid, Danica Patrick was the most known female in motorsports. So I feel like definitely, 9-year-old me was definitely looking up to her. Really because she was the most known female, and, I got to watch her race every weekend on TV. And I feel like seeing is believing. I saw that she was out there doing it, and I think that gave me that extra boost of confidence and kind of made me feel like it was a normal thing. I'm like, oh yeah, there's a girl doing it right there. It's like not anything weird. So I think definitely when I was younger, I looked up to her. And then also as I got older, I have had other inspirations. My favorite drivers are like Lewis Hamilton. He's one of my favorite, even though he's not a NASCAR driver. I haven't met him yet, but that's definitely a goal. Would love to meet him. But I definitely love the way he goes about things. Obviously on the track, he's great, but off the track, I feel like he's very positive, and just his mindset on things, I feel like is really cool too. So he's definitely somebody that I look up to.
Well, and who do you have you gotten any great advice since getting into this? And who do you know, is there someone that's always there to like, hey, give me a call if you have any questions, or hey, feel free to hit me up if there's, something you want to talk about, like someone that's maybe taking you on and giving you this great advice while you're still learning?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, my team right now, I feel like has been really great. And I've been with so many great teams that have helped me along the way. And I feel like the most important thing is when you're kind of having a down moment or a bad race, being with a team that will lift you up and not be like, oh, she crashed, wrecked the car or whatever. Like they actually lift you up and just make you feel better and kind of give you that boost of confidence. I think it's important for me when I'm with teams that don't treat me like a girl. They treat me like every other driver. So for me, that's important. I think, I've gotten a lot of good advice from my team, but I think the biggest thing that I've learned is like confidence is the biggest thing. If you're not confident when you're out there, if you feel like you're going to wreck and if you're on defense mode, then you're going to wreck. I feel like the biggest thing is confidence. And I feel like, a lot of people say that, but it really does affect your performance. So I think that's the biggest piece of advice that I've gotten is, if you aren't confident when you're out there and you feel like you're going to wreck, you're going to wreck. It's true.
Don't wreck. Don't ever think about it.
We don't want to see that happen.
We don't want that happening at all.
We'll all turn into mom for a second.
Yes.
Like, no.
Now, do you miss Cali at all? You were born and raised as a Cali girl. You moved immediately after high school to North Carolina, which is definitely like a culture shock and everything else at all. Do you plan on staying in North Carolina? I mean, I know you can for your career, but is there things from Cali that you're missing at this moment aside from weather? But
definitely. I miss California a lot. That's definitely my favorite state, will always be my favorite state. But yeah, definitely, North Carolina was kind of the move that I had to make to pursue NASCAR. Everything NASCAR is out here. So I kind of had to make that move. And, as long as I'm continuing my racing career, I would be staying out here for that reason, but really only for that reason. I feel like California kind of wins on everything else besides the racing scene.
And we also saw that you did like the Ellen DeGeneres show. You were on Good Morning America. Like, what has been one of the biggest surprises for you as far as once your name started getting out there, once people started knowing about you and what you were doing in the racing world? What was kind of like some of your favorite things that have happened since then?
Yeah, it's been crazy. I feel like it's been a whirlwind of things since Daytona. I just remember the morning of Daytona, the race, I saw GQ Sports posted up, my story that I was racing today. I was like, wow, that's really cool. GQ Sports posted it. And I thought that was the coolest thing. But then I was like, okay, I'm going to go do my race, focus on that. And during race day, I don't touch my phone or anything. But afterwards, when we got back to the hotel and kind of went through emails, looked at our phones, it's like we had so many people reaching out to us. And I was like, what just happened? It was just the craziest thing ever. I was like, whoa, like I was just doing this race that I just normally go out there and race and nothing happens. And then a lot of people started reaching out to us, and Ellen was one of the first people to reach out. And that was crazy. I still feel like that didn't happen. Such a surreal moment. But yeah, Ellen was amazing. That was probably my first really big thing that I did. The Today Show, Good Morning America. It's all been amazing. And some other exciting stuff are coming too. So it's been crazy. It's very surreal to even think that I've been on any of those. It's weird even saying that I've been on them.
Any celebrity tweet outs for you that are NASCAR fans? Anything like that of any acknowledgement that you know of?
I'm trying to think. I'm sure there has been. But yeah, I definitely need to think on that. I feel like definitely people have tweeted out or something. But I feel like so much stuff always happens. I forget half of it. I'm like, oh, but
I'm sure there'll be more.
I'm sure that you get that. Yes. So is your rabbit out there? Talk about Fetty Hop. Yes, they're your pets.
Yeah.
Talk about Fetty Hop and that. How long have you had him? And what's that like having a pet rabbit of all things?
Yeah, super random.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so ever since I was a little girl, I've always wanted a bunny as a pet. I always bugged my mom about it. She's like, no, like you're not getting a bunny. So I always kind of wanted a bunny. Ever since I was a kid, I was kind of like had that in the back of my head. And when I first moved out here, I was living by myself, and I actually technically wasn't supposed to have a cat or a dog. They didn't say anything about bunnies, so I'm just not going to mention it. I can just get a bunny. They won't notice. But I couldn't have a cat or a dog, and I was by myself, so I was like, okay, it's kind of lonely. I was like, I feel like I need like a little companion or something. So I got Fetty. He's great. You know, he doesn't make any noises. He's not loud or anything. He's just cute. He just sits next to me for the most part and kind of hops around. So he's a very chill pet, and I feel like it works for me in my schedule since it's so busy. I feel like he's pretty chill, and I'll just have friends drop by and feed him if I'm gone and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, he's a great little buddy.
I love that name.
I love the name. I love the name.
Yes.
I love the name. So I have to say, Fetty Wap has to be was one of your favorite artists at the time or something to name him after the name.
Oh yes, that was definitely one of my favorite artists in high school, and I was like, this is the perfect opportunity to name him after him. It just works.
That's hilarious.
Too cute.
And Toni, what do you have coming up as far as your next race?
Yeah, so my next race is this Sunday at Du Quoin. We're going to have Hair Club on the car. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be good. It's a dirt race, so that will be interesting again. But yeah, my next couple big ones will be Kansas next month and then Phoenix the month after that. So those are kind of like my bigger races coming up.
Wow, that's just going to be exciting. It's keeping you busy.
Oh yeah, no, definitely keeps me busy. And all these tracks are very, very different tracks. So the training in between keeps me busy too. So it's good. I'm always on my toes and busy.
That's good.
Well, we wish you the best of luck in the rest of your season. I know I'm going to be starting to stay tuned. I just got to see it happen because this is amazing. Yeah. We think your story is awesome. We wish you the best success. Be the Tom Brady of NASCAR and continue on like NASCAR racers do till they're 40 or 50, however you want to do it. Do it as long as you can. We're excited for you. Yeah. Where can everybody find you on social media?
Yeah, I feel like I'm on pretty much every single social media platform. I'm on Triller, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, pretty much on it all. If you type in my name, I'll probably pop up on there. So you can find me at Toni Breidinger on pretty much any social media site.
Awesome. And I see the fit check on you too. I see that cross colors hoodie you got on.
Yes.
Very fly, represent. I love it. Yes, cross colors is back. Yeah, you have made it pop and happen. And good luck with that too, because you also said you also want to do modeling as well. So that's great. Keep that going as well.
Well, you got the look, and like you said, you're at a haircut. I mean, you got great hair. I mean, everything's going for you, girl. So work it. It's the ultimate girl power moment.
Right. The glow up is real for real. Yes.
Well, congratulations again. Thank you so much again for being on the show. We really appreciate you and much continued success. We will hopefully see you on the race car circuit a lot more often, and hopefully see you getting that checkered flag too.
Yes.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Yes, Thanks. Toni. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.
She is adorable. Oh my gosh. I love it. Wow. Can you imagine at 22 having done all this?
No. Again, this is another girl power thing.
Major girl power.
Like the swimmers and everyone that's Olympians and all of this that do these things very young. And I have to give it up to this generation of kids that are doing that. They are really going after what's theirs. They are definitely changing
and it's crazy because you got one side that doesn't want to work and do nothing, and then you got the other side.
You got the other one that's like go-getters and out there.
100.
But that's a higher percentage of the ones that are go-getters. I mean, I've never seen that within this paradigm, and it's a great shift. You're seeing them do some things that we would have never thought to think about getting into, and they're doing it. The exposure's there,
and they're opening the doors for all these other kids that are coming up. Like, imagine all the girls that are out there now trying to get on the racetrack. Listen, I got into one go-kart accident, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm cool, I'm good."
Oh, I always love the go-kart. Shout out to Scandia, a family fun center, because go-karts is one of those things we always wanted to do. Shout out to Pole Position locally, another one of those Formula One things that's actually like a real one. And then you got the Las Vegas little thing on Rainbow, the mini Grand Prix. So that's out there. The influence is there, and she's made it very definite that you don't have to be this type of jock type person, or even she's letting her femininity shine through her athleticism as well. And that's the good counterbalance to that. Not only is she well-rounded, but she's also into racing. You would have never saw that coming. That's great.
So thanks to Toni again. If you missed the interview and you're just kind of tuning in now, make sure to catch the replay back here on Facebook. You can go back to YouTube later this evening, catch her, because she's just great. And so I think Donnell
made her history with being the first Arabic woman to American woman to grace the Formula One racing or be into NASCAR. That's great.
And super articulate, like Donnell had mentioned. Shout out to Goose and Let the Ball Bounce, because here's the deal. We've seen all these NBA guys and NFL guys and whoever else at 22 need PR help and experience. And this girl is out there just so fluent and just so articulate in how she speaks. And it's quite refreshing.
And I think her mom was a teacher of some sort too.
Oh, really?
When she grew up. Yeah. I think she was like a pre-K though.
Too.
Pre-K. So, you know, that always is good influence too. But very.
Yeah. So we can get in some hot talk. Well, first of all, let's just shout out to Louisiana. Keep Louisiana people in your prayers.
Oh my God, Hurricane Ida.
Hurricane Ida did not. I mean,
it's not disappointing though with the levees. At least it's not disappointing with the levees. The levees are staying sturdy. There's only a couple outside of Louisiana area that the levees are getting a little wavery, but the power outage and the flooding, that's the thing is just so crazy. I mean,
they gotta have power for weeks.
Yes, and luckily, praise God, I have cousins down there. They have a backup generator in their home. They are safe. God. They are well. You know, I've checked on. I had to tap in to make sure that my Louisiana peeps are all good down there, and they are, because thank God for their homes. They have backup generators, keep their power going. But AT&T service lines are down. There's no type of communication.
No cell phones. Yeah. You can't charge your cell phone anyway.
Well, you can't even contact emergency help.
And it's also like a heat wave down there too. So you got no AC. It's a heat wave.
Right. But you can't even get emergency services to come to you. They're like randomly going to homes because you cannot even have the outreach because the phone service is down to contact
And hospitals
anybody.
are full because they're already full before because of COVID. So you can't even, something did happen to you. You can't even get into a hospital because they're full.
All of it's a mess. It's just a mess. And hurricanes, I don't understand. You know, you guys get the warning and don't leave. And it's so funny because even when Katrina came, I had asked cousins and relatives, like, you guys hear about this Katrina? Y'all leaving? They're like, no, we're gonna stay and ride it out. And I'm like,
I guess when you're out there, you just like, we ride it out.
We ride it out.
You don't know.
Florida, they stay. They board up their homes and they can get out. They get out. But a lot of people don't have the fortunate luxury to get out. But even the fact that the gas was running out, because people that did have generators are going to gas stations, filling up their gas cans for the generators. And then
half the gas stations are out of gas.
Yeah, out of gas. Yeah. So it's tough. So pray.
Not to mention, this is like the 6th, I think, hurricane category 1, 2, or higher that was on August 29th. Besides Katrina, there was like
it's
6
always
other hurricanes.
It's always around this time.
Which is my brother's birthday too. So I told
whose birthday?
My brother's birthday is the 29th. No. I'm like, wow, you got
all that going on.
Don't ever be in the South on your birthday, please. Yeah. Because it's not a good day.
Always around that time. Anytime it's like after Essence in July, we know that the hurricane season is coming.
Yeah, that's it. Tap out.
So that's how that.
So because of that, the Saints are playing their first week home opener in Jacksonville against the Packers. They had thought maybe they'd be in Dallas, but I guess it's officially going to be in Jacksonville. So we'll see if it continues there. I don't know if they had week 2 on the road or what, but we'll see how long it is before they can head back to New Orleans to play, which is crazy. Other hot topics, there was a news announced today through a memo of the NBA that vaccine requirements are specific to NYC and San Francisco. So basically, if you're on the home team and you're not vaccinated or haven't started the vaccination process because of what the cities have already passed, so New York as of September 13th and San Francisco as of October 13th, you have to be able to provide proof that you are partially, if not fully vaccinated to enter any kind of large scale event or a covered premise, like a covered, stadium, coliseum, whatever. So what I found interesting is that they only want these for the home team players because there's a caveat in the rules where if you're from out of town or a visitor or a tourist, you can. How does that make sense?
You can play. Yeah, it doesn't.
That makes absolutely no sense. Like if it's going to be if it's for all, it should be for all. Like just because I'm coming into New York to go watch a basketball game or play a basketball game doesn't mean I should be able to play. There's a rule.
Well, here's the thing. That's what makes no sense, because if these cities are saying, even if you're an attendee and you have to be vaccinated to go, because at Golden State and all of that, they said all the fans have to be vaccinated to go to these games. Same with Brooklyn Nets. If you go to the Brooklyn games, you have to be vaccinated. So I understand why the visiting team that has players that aren't are still able to play against their home team. Maybe because it's their home state and that's where they dwell and live. I don't know. I just think it's kind of crazy. It doesn't really make any sense, but it's very interesting. And I'm tired of And I'm tired of preaching to people that are saying, you know, I'm tired of talking about this. I'm tired of telling and convincing. I don't know what we need to do to tell people that the vaccine is helpful. I'm done talking about that. So this is what it is.
COVID is real.
Okay, so this is what it is. You know, there's nothing I can say. I mean, yeah, it doesn't make any sense, but it's their rules. Whatever. I mean, what
and news flash, you know, it's gonna start happening across more cities. It's not just gonna be Frisco and New York. It's gonna end up at one day being LA. It's gonna soon be other cities and other places. We already have Allegiant Stadium saying you got to do it for the Raiders.
It's coming locally to Vegas too. It's coming locally to Vegas too. And I just got hot off the press from Cassandra Cousineau as well as Miss Bollandy. Thanks for joining the chat. That Liz officially has COVID. She was out on the protocols for the health check, but she has COVID. This, I believe, is her second time having COVID, as we recalled. She had it before. Remember when it first broke? Yeah. Then she was playing overseas. She wasn't sure if she had it or not. She has it now again. And she's been back. She has it again. So hopefully the recovery won't be as long and grueling and enduring as her first time having it. But, you know, hopefully it doesn't mess her up cardiovascular either, because her cardio is kind of lean with that too. So hopefully it doesn't mess her in the future breathing or anything. So with her being out, what's the stipulation? What, 5 to 10 days or something like that?
I believe it's like 7. Well, I don't know. I think it might be like 4 negative tests or 5 negative tests. I don't remember exactly how many it is now, but
and then she's out.
Yeah, and then you got Derek out with an ankle injury.
Yeah,
you know, this is.
And I'm going to that game tomorrow night because I wasn't sure if I was scheduled to attend that one, and I am. So we're going to see how that all happens. We're going to see the breakdown on that.
Here's the deal. It doesn't matter. We've already clinched the playoffs. Seattle's been struggling since coming back from the Olympics. I know Asia Wilson struggled since coming back from the Olympics. She's been under 40% during each game. The thing is Bill going to give these girls a break? Is he going to rest Asia for all? Because honestly, it's not going to matter if we lose a game now or not. I think what's going to be more, my opinion, if I was coach, is to give some like the Seattle Storm did. They gave their two best ladies. They gave Brianna Stewart and Sue Bird like 2 games off.
He definitely has enough depth in his bench to do so.
Well, when you think about it, would you rather have them rest now or have to rest in the playoffs when they're exhausted?
And it lowers risk of injury. I mean, I wouldn't play them up like that. He definitely has a depth enough people.
We just broke the news to Natalie about.
Yeah, she's like, what? So, yeah, go tend to your girl, honey. Check on her.
Yeah, go help her out.
He definitely has the depth of his bench to do so for a replacement. So why not? I mean, he could. So we'll see tomorrow.
Yeah, hopefully. I just hope that they do have some. I mean, they had like, you know, plus they just got off of like a 3-game road trip where they had trouble with, you know,
the airport
flights and delays. And, you know, lucky for them, they had their strength of schedule for these last 2 games was Atlanta and Indiana. So they were able to get through. But had it been the teams that Seattle had to go up against, like Connecticut and whatever else, the Sky, they didn't do so well.
They can take the L.
Time to get playoff ready. Time to get playoff ready.
Yeah, they can afford to take the L, or he can utilize his bench, and we can still win tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. Another hot topic: Cam Newton got released from the Patriots. I don't think anybody saw this coming. I mean, released though.
I wasn't surprised.
I was surprised.
I wasn't. Because they were talking about Mac Jones this whole freaking week. They were playing up Mac Jones. I said, something's up. Either Cam is going to leave this team or they are going to make him be backup. Something is going to happen detrimental. So when they announced that they were releasing him, it didn't come off as a shock to me. I'm not surprised because remember when I told you months before when Cam was out with not playing at all and trying to search for a team, how a lot of teams would not pick him up because he is a personnel issue. Something in the personnel does not work out when it comes to Cam Newton. And New England reached out and gave him a chance. They gave him an opportunity. He's had COVID before. And then you going under protocol.
He's unvaxxed.
You don't want to get vaxxed. I mean, where's the team player element come into play with this guy? I mean,
well, the thing is, I guess I was more thinking like we see other players are requesting a trade. They're requesting to be released. I would have thought that it would come off as he requested out, like he wants out. Versus, you know, as opposed to being a backup. He can't get a request
though. Who pisses off Ron Rivera? That makes no sense. You already should have known something was up when you make somebody like Ron Rivera leave. Like that already should have been a red flag number one. Okay. And I like him. And I think him, you know, he's still an MVP. I think he can ball out. But I think personally, he's got some personnel stuff that just don't fly. And I wonder what team is going to pick him up. And if they do pick him back up, is he going to understand that his role will probably be backup QB? He could probably he'd definitely be a starter if he were to go to Miami or somewhere like that over Tua. that could be a possibility, but I don't think
I mean,
Miami's
he's
going
got
to take him.
experience over that. I mean, I don't. He definitely could be a starter somewhere. I just don't know exactly where. I know that they were mentioning Dallas was looking at him as a backup, which I think
That would be good.
Dallas definitely needs a backup. After watching Hard Knocks, you can tell that their backup situation.
I know the guy got cut. I know a boy got cut. They talked about it all day.
It's not good.
Yeah. But I mean, again, he's still a backup role. He may still in his mind deserve the starting position, which
I mean, I wouldn't mind him being in Seattle as a backup. I would gladly be getting rid of Gino Rail. I think it's more of a price tag. It's a price tag.
He would never get any playing time in Seattle, and he's not going to get the money he wants because it's all tied up in Russ. So that's not going to work. But Dallas would be
it's going to be hard for him to get the money he wants anywhere, really, at this point.
And then there we go lies the problem.
Yeah.
And that's what organizations look at. Is he really going to take this money? Is he going to cooperate with COVID protocols? And 3, will he be that team player guy? This is
because you can't jeopardize your team these days. You can't be the person that's jeopardizing your team's game and possibly forfeiting or losing a week. Yeah.
This is the conundrum. You know what I mean? And it's too bad because honestly, he kind of low-key brought that on himself. That was all preventable. It was choices he made. And it sucks. It sucks.
So you didn't catch Hard Knocks.
I didn't. When I looked at the time and it was 5 o'clock, I realized I
get it.
I didn't.
I know how it goes. I barely caught it. I caught. Well, I was stuck on the
Clickbait?
What was it? Clickbait. I watched it all yesterday.
I know. How late did you stay up for it? How late did you stay up?
It was probably about midnight.
Oh, you did good. I was up till 4
So I didn't get a chance to watch Hard Knocks last night because I was clearly in clickbait mode. So I watched it today, but it was a good one. It wasn't. I don't think this is their best season, of course, of Hard Knocks. I might be partial, of course, but what's sad is that the kid with the glasses and the contacts, Hardy,
he got cut.
Yeah. But he had a chance to shine through because the guy in front of him had got injured and was on IR, so he had the opportunity. But now
there was a good preseason game, Joe.
Right, I know. If you were hungry though, this was a great episode to watch because there's a lot of fried chicken. A lot of Parsons' mom, the rookie, made a whole Southern fried chicken meal for a lot of the players that were there. It was just it was all right. Like, I honestly, this is the first episode I've ever fast forwarded through. Like, it wasn't that great.
Okay, well then I guess I will be skipping that one.
I'm guessing it'll hopefully be better in the next 2 episodes as we're making the final cuts and we're getting ready for the season. That's usually, I think, when hopefully it gets better. This episode 4 was by far the one that I didn't care for the most. It was a little weak,
so maybe it'll get better. Yeah. It has to get better. Boy, what are those Cowboys gonna do?
Yeah, what are they gonna do? I don't know.
Mess.
What else? Oh, the new Dennis Rodman movie that's getting made. Have you heard about this?
No.
So we all remember after watching, The Last Dance, there was a portion of about, Dennis Rodman's Vegas trip during the 97.
Oh, I did see that.
So there's going to be a new documentary called
about the Vegas
48
trip.
Hours in Vegas.
Yeah.
Now that's going to be something.
I
hope they show everything.
Me, but it's going to be an eye opener. Now, I don't know how well of an eye opener it is. I remember seeing him at this former nightclub, the Beach nightclub, where he would be throwing money and buying everybody drinks in the club. That was, a pretty flamboyant thing. Dennis was like a household name here in Vegas and I think it had a lot to do with the 48-hour trip. So I'd be curious to see what the influence of Vegas did to him to make him be kind of like one of those fixtures for a while in Vegas, turning up.
Right. What's up to Heather chiming in? Heather felt the pain of us. She didn't get she had one of those Seafoam Nikes and didn't get the drop, missed out on a raffle. So she definitely feels our pain for not getting the shoes that we want when we want them, of course, which is, a little too bad. We can talk about our sneaker drops real quick since we've got kind of maneuvered that way. Let me see, where did I put them? Oh, yeah.
So we got the Shimmer 4s coming out on September 3rd. As no need of me getting my hopes up on those because no retailer is carrying them and they are on a draw on the Sneakers app. So good luck to everybody that wakes up at 7 a.m. or 6:30 and keeps their phone on the Sneakers app waiting to get this drawing. Hopefully,
Mo, I will enter for you because I don't really want them. So I'll take
a 10 women's or 8.5 men's. Like that's my size. Like
gotcha.
If I don't get them, I'm over it. I was just speaking to and shout out to Rashad because he says, how many new J's do you have that you've never worn? I said about 7. I said that's a problem.
I feel you.
I don't even wear them.
I tried for one a day just because if I got it, I'd probably return one that I just got because I got the low blues, the lows AJ1 blue, the lows, but there was the blue and white mids that I wanted today. Of course, I didn't get them.
Yeah.
But whatever. Yeah. So Dame Lillard and Shaq are going to go together to work on the Shaqnosis, which apparently came out today. But if you can see it, there's like the Shaq on one side, the Damian Lillard logo on the other. This, Reebok.
That shoe is so ugly.
Well, most Reeboks are, in my opinion.
Dame's out of line for even going with that.
Yeah, I can't. It's too much.
They're ugly. I don't even know what to describe them as. They're like one of those. They were like those Nike shoes that had air written on them and the big bold letters and the puff lettering. They're ugly like those.
The Pippins, or I mean,
is that what
the
they
Nike
were?
ones? I think they were Pippins. Yeah,
they were ugly. They were ugly.
Yeah, I mean,
they were ugly.
These are uglier. I mean, the Kamikazes I have to go with just because they were Kemp's shoe, but this is just, I can't.
Yeah, they're ugly. I don't.
I know we've talked about these before. The social status and Nike Dunk. They come out on the 4th. It's the free lunch. Those are pretty. Those got some nice little colors in them.
The colorways are cool on those.
Yeah.
Like the pink swoosh.
Air Max Laser comes out on the 7th.
Is that all suede or velvet?
I don't know. It looks like it though. It looks like it's got a couple of different fabrics. So that's interesting. I'm not a fan of the color, but yeah. Excuse me.
The waffles. Oh my God, those waffle trainers are so fly.
This is the Quad Sakai Nike LD waffle. The orange comes out at 99. There's so many different waffles that have come out. There's a gray one that I really want. There's these. There's so many good ones that are coming out.
And the waffles don't sell out, so you can get those. Well, you probably can't get those with the double swoosh, but when you get the single swoosh waffles, those are iconic. You can grab.
But they have been. They have been selling out.
We got some waffles in Nordstrom.
They haven't.
The Oreo 5s. Let's go.
AJ5 and Moonlights.
Yeah,
those are no, those are September 10th. Oh, okay. This is the Moonlight. It's a Moonlight.
Oh, the Moonlight ones.
Yeah,
kind of like those. I don't need another Black J though.
I wouldn't mind. My Black J doesn't have the white in the bottom. The Oreos don't got the white; they just got the gray, so that's not too bad. I don't know.
That's not too bad.
And then you brought up these ones. You got the AJ2 lows, off-whites.
Yeah, off-whites. Yeah, look at that with the MJ signature on them. Those are going to be so hard to get. And I have a pair of retro twos that I cannot even wear because they're so tight in the toe box. But I will get those lows. I would want to make it my mid.
I needed two. I don't like twos, but I would need a two to make my clock. So if I could grab those, of course that would be an awesome.
Yeah, that retro two there, that off-white two is ridiculous. That's insane. And I know the resale on them is going to be thousands.
Oh,
that'd be a nice cop.
Insane.
To have. And it's got his signature on it. That's the thing. It's so cool. And I'd still wear them. I'd wear them just to floss, just on GP. I'd have to. I can't let those sit in my closet like that.
No. Before I know we wanted to wrap up a little sooner so we don't get cut off today. Is that you got your Dodger blue on? No, they had a hot game last night.
Yes, they did, but they're facing
the
San Francisco divisional game, and I'm just praying we can get a win out of this series because San Francisco's giving us a tough go. We may not be NL West champions this season because San Francisco's just been on fire. And Mookie's back, so that may give us an advantage. Mookie's back. Our guys' bats are cold. They're not losing like when I saw them. So we're gonna see how this weekend pans out against some Giants. We gotta go. And I'm wearing my retro Brooklyn. This is the Jackie Robinson one. So I had to wear this for good luck for
blue. Good. Are they playing tonight? Are they playing right now?
I don't think they're playing right now.
Oh, okay.
I think the game starts on Friday.
My Mariners took a 2-3 win in the series against the Astros, which was well needed. So we're only 2 games behind the A's. We're still in 7th in the AL. So there is some definite playoff possibilities, some wild card race here. So
it'd be nice.
Just got to keep the faith. Man, listen, it's September. We've got 72 wins. I don't know when the last time is that I could say that. So I'm excited.
Even if you don't get it, it's going to be better from here,
Most
definitely. And you heard about the Mets GM got arrested for a DWI the other day.
Yeah.
So that might put a hunker on the Mets.
And your boy Trevor Bauer is still out there with another extension.
Yeah, they talking about a suspension for him still too. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, you guys, next week is the official start of football. Our ladies group here for fantasy football has our draft next Tuesday. So I'm sure come Wednesday, we'll have lots of fantasy football talk and a lot of anticipation for the beginning of the season officially next weekend, y'all. Football is
Good luck,
back.
everybody, on their fantasies and pick'ems.
Super excited. Again, shout out to Toni Breidinger. I appreciate you. We both appreciate you for hopping on with us today and talking about the NASCAR, race cars, racing. Such an amazing story. We'll definitely have to keep up with her. But thanks again, you guys. Make sure if you missed her interview, you can rewatch it here, or you can check it out. Subscribe to our YouTube. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at GirlChatSports. Every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern time. We appreciate you. Got anything, Mo? You good?
No, you said a mouthful.
All right.
You got it. Close it out.
All right, y'all. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.